Hello and welcome to the TABS Online Church Management System. Today we're going to do an overview of the Visitors Follow-Up Care module, specifically the response cards. The response card area allows you to track multiple response card entries for individual households. Also, as we go through, we'll talk about the show option and what these particular date items are. And we'll also show how you can go through and create multiple prayer requests as well, and everything will be up here based on a date range. As a visitor or a member or a regular attender submits a response card, they can be added to the system. Then over here they can go through and actually have multiple submissions that can be tracked and maintained by each date. But at the same time, this will also allow you to go through and see that these people are submitting 2 and 3 different response cards to give you an idea of their participation activity within the church as well. What we have for this particular household is a dummy record, and right now it's got a show all, which will show all the check marks for all the dates that are listed here. Let's go ahead and click on the 10/1/2010 entries. This will go through and reset the system, show you that these are the items that are checked that were actually filled out on a response card and entered in on that particular date. As we click on 10/8, now it will go through and reset these and show you that these are the entries that have been done. And as you can see, there are no entries up here, but there is and has been a comments and notes. And this is just an example of a test that was submitted on that date. When we click on 10/10, it will go through and show you that there was a committing life to Christ and sports and recreation and a prayer chain request that was submitted on that date. This gives you a little quick overview of those areas and shows you if you want to do show all. It will show all the different entries here, but it will show you the latest prayer request. Now, let's go ahead and take the next step, and let's show what happens when we edit these records. If, for example, I edit this record here, I can then go ahead and actually edit the prayer chain request that's already here. I can go through and also check or uncheck new items. If I check new items in this area, it will pull in this date here of 10/15, and it will show as a new date here for any new items that I check. It knows which ones were previously submitted on prior dates, but if I check high school and I go through and just check high school and do a save, it will go through and actually create me a new entry based on the 10/15 and reflect that up here as a new date for new items that have been posted. Here we have it. Now if I click on the 10/15, it will come back and say the only item that was submitted on that date was high school. I can go through as well if I want to edit this, and let's say I want to go through on that 10/15 date, actually go through and put in a new prayer request. I can click on new. I can put who it's going to be, for example, submitted to, and let's just say submitted to myself here, and let's say date of 10/15/2010, and let's go ahead and say pray for family needs. Now we go ahead and hit the save button, and let's say it was a prayer chain, and we unclick the comments here, and we say that now we do a save. As you notice, it went to a default show all and listed all the items that are here, but now as we click on this particular date of 10/15, it will show two things. It will show one, the high school, and the prayer request that was submitted on 10/15. If I go through and say 10/10, it will come back and show me the items that were submitted on that date and also show me the prayer request that's there. If, for example, I want to edit any particular prayer request, I do need to go ahead and select on that particular date, that a prayer request if it was submitted, and then click the edit button. And I can go through now and update this and say click on that, do a save, and it knows that it was a comments and notes, it knows the dates, and just to kind of go through, that was on the 8th, we're going to click on 10/10, change it a little bit, go back to 10/8, and you'll notice that the same items that were checked for 10/8 are there, plus we have the prayer request that's been updated. Now let's go ahead and say I want to delete a particular prayer request. If I want to delete for some reason, and go through and click on 10/15, and I click on the edit button, it will give me an option for the prayer request to go ahead and delete the prayer request. And I go ahead and save. It will delete just the prayer request information for that date, and it will go through and not delete and touch any of the other information that's here. So now I can go through and click on these, and you notice as I go back, I did not delete this date up here, even though I did delete the prayer request. Let's go ahead and check out and see what may have been also submitted on that date. On that date, it did have a request for they wanted information on the high school. If, for example, I now go ahead and edit this record, and for example, let's say I made a mistake, and I uncheck the high school, and I do a save, it knows that that particular date for the 15th was for the high school, and it will go through and delete that from your list, and now it pulls back, and these are the items that we have. Another note on prayer requests is if you want to go ahead and do a follow-up, let's say Steve Davis here is going to go do a follow-up on that particular prayer request that comes in, they can go through, edit the record, and here's a recommended format for putting notes on here. That way you can see your notes based on the actual comment. Let's say this gives you a little bit of a follow-up of when it was done, and you can put, for example, the initials that were there and what was done when you do a save. Now, for example, we have actual notes that have been done here for this particular prayer request. That concludes an overview of the TABS Online Visitor Module. Thank you very much, and have a good day.